All right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. We are still running through some of your feedback that's coming through. We'll take them in just a bit, but we're talking about the political realignments now. We know that there's a lot going on. Oka is one conversation that everybody's having. We know now that there's One Kenya Alliance. But there was a tweet by Governor Kibwana, which I want to read out now. He says, what sense does it make for Oka trio to exit NASA and then invite Baba to join them in Oka? Isn't it a reincarnation of NASA alliance? Is this confirmation that Team Oka, which is Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Wetangula, cannot withstand an ultimate people swearing-in ceremony a second time? Honorable Wang, I'll start with you on this. Why would you dissolve NASA and then still invite the same people who are in NASA to form Oka?
I think that's a big question, but Trevor, that was bound to happen because for every election season, there are alignments and realignments and further realignments, and this is what is happening. And now you can't go into the 2022 election under the same agreements that you did in 2017, for example. So I think what we are seeing is normal. You know, you shake it up, then we find the best way to move forward. So I think what we're experiencing is nothing new.
But realistically speaking here, who needs the other more? Can ODM do this on their own without the trio who have now formed their own alliance?
ODM is a party whose mission is to capture power. So ODM stands as ODM. If we need to build partnerships, we will continue. We will speak to, you know, like-minded people in order to build a formidable alliance with which we go to the next election. So we will be speaking to all these parties, you know, so that if we are like-minded and we have common interests in terms of making this country a better place, then we can come together. ODM will speak to everybody. I mean, really, in terms of, you know, trying to get us to come together, all like-minded people who believe in a better Kenya, a stronger nation, to ensure that we cross over. So I think people are free, and what our, you know, former partners in NASA, even though, by the way, there has been no formal withdrawal that has been launched with the Registrar of Political Parties. Yeah. So our partners are free to also build, you know, partnerships as they are doing. But we're also now, you know, free as ODM to build whatever partnerships we can, you know, moving forward, including with our old partners under new agreements. Yeah. Because if you look at the agreement that we had under NASA, I mean, it was also very oppressive to ODM. It was very, very oppressive to ODM.
Why?
Because, I mean, you look at it. Yeah, you cannot have a situation where, if you look at the agreement, you cannot have a situation where, you know, if you're a president out of 21 ministries, you only get 3. I mean, look at that. I mean, would that be a sustainable position to have? So it was an agreement that we had. We could have, you know, gone through with it, but we now have a chance to build partnerships in order to have a formidable force to capture power.
So you're not ruling out the possibility of ODM rejoining the One Kenya Alliance?
No, not the One Kenya Alliance. I think the mission is to build a formidable movement to get us to where we need to go. Okay. So there's no ruling out ODM working with Musalia, for example, or with Kalonzo, or with Wetangula, you know, in order to move the country forward. There's no ruling out that, or with Governor Mutua, or with, you know, Governor Givutha, who's declared that he's running for president. There's no ruling out those partnerships, and that's why we are starting this handshake, you know, movement and plan. Yeah. Everybody who has, you know, the common or like mind of having a united nation that is free of corruption, where our people prosper. Yeah. We are open to talk.
So you're open to talk even to the deputy president, because you've worked with them before. This will not be anything new.
Yeah, but the path that they, you know, the path that they take is radically different from where we want to go as a country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Governor Mutua, what do you make of these political realignments, and especially what Governor Kivuta Kipwana said here?
You know, I'm listening to, you know, we've got the same people being mentioned. And that's why some of us saying maybe it's time for a fresh start and injection of new blood.
Yeah.
But you can't inject new blood all of a sudden. You can't just remove the people who have experience and bring new people. You have to have a hybrid. You need the old and the new, but even some of the old have to go. You can't just sustain the old there and the new at the same time, but you can't get rid of all the old. So it has to be a hybrid of the same people. Some of these people in Okoa will have to go. Some of these people in other will have to go and give room to others to come in so the economy can grow and Kenyans can grow and the youth can be seen to be moving forward, because we can't stay with the same people, same ideology, same whining, same complaining, same problems over and over again, and we think we're going to get anywhere. You know, we have to change our tactics. So we have to have an injection of old in the new, and that's why some of us come in. But I want to say that Mambo coalition is bad. I think we are still experimenting. Let the process take its course, because majority of the coalitions that are formed at the last minute. Yeah. They are formed 3-4 months to the elections. But you know, that's a reality. So let's not get excited. People asking me, uko pande gani, unaenda wapi, unaona inaenda mna gani? It's still early. It's still a year to the elections. We've still got a long way to go. But let the conversation start. Let people know these are like-minded people. But also, people need to work together where you're not holding others hostage, where you're not holding others at, you know, ransom, so that it's either you do this or you do this. It needs to be a partnership where people are like-minded. Look at what happened with the partnership between Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto. They came to win a seat. They came together, formed Jubilee, wakasema wako pamoja, so they could get power. But they were not really pamoja ideologically. Yeah. You know, the running of the economics, the running of government, how to work, it was not together. And that is why people complain about the Jubilee government with all the opportunities and how the economy has gone, because hii mvutano, people came together to win. So we also, Madam Wanga, I like your point, but we also have to be very careful. We don't just form a coalition to get into power. We need a coalition of people who can work together to change this country, to rescue this country from where it is. Kenya can be greater. It should be greater than how it is today. Yeah. And nafikiri tumefinyiwa sana, but it's our time now to rise. It's our time for a fresh movement. And that's why when I go around and talk to my Mandela chap people, I tell them, let's keep to the course. We have a strategy of how to change this country, because it's not about us. So it should be about Mutua. It should not be about Raila or Uhuru or Wamatangi or Wanga or anybody else. Yeah. It should be about lifting that mother who slept hungry yesterday, that young man who is unemployed. We have to have a government that ensures that you can sleep, have a dream, wake up, and go out and make your dreams come true without a lot of the frustration that we face. Okay.
Wamatangi, what do you think? Is it time to shake the tree a bit? Because what Governor Mutua is saying is actually true. When you look at even at the headlines, it's the same people.
I think we would start, in my view, by acknowledging a few facts that you can't do away with. We would need to appreciate fact one, that since 1992, the structure of our politics changed, and I would say eternally. With the formation of that NAC, remember that team, that spelled a completely new structure, philosophy, and approach to our elective politics, and especially ascension to the top office in this country. And that would need to be appreciated, in my view, Trevor, with the facts in the background of who we are as a country and how we are also structurally formed by several communities. And that is why I think that model blended so almost naturally to deal with some of the problems we've had. Remember, to address our problems of sectionism, of tribalism, communities, once we tested that model, and we had that lineup of all those leaders standing there saying that we are now called NAC and we will deliver the dream of Kenyans and so on, that now has become the way people see ascension to power and the settlement of that question, are we going to be included? So whatever we speak about the groupings, the coalitions, we need to appreciate that at the end of the day, for one to be able to convince the majority of the people of this country that indeed you can be able to lead, we will be looking that way. That said and said, at the end of the day, then when my colleague here speaks about shedding off some of the old, I think he makes a sensible point. At the end of the day, we'll need to looking at it that way, Trevor, because part of what has been ailing our politics, when you think about critically, is the lack of what you would call politics that is inspirational, that's transformational. Because we've been at the game of seeking power for power's sake. Yeah. I mean, because you ask yourself, you know, what about milestones? What about goals? You know, what about achievements? Yeah. What about the structure of how to get there? You know, what do you say to Kenyans? What is your scorecard? What's your marking scheme? What's the ideology? You see, those are the questions that are still blank to most of the people who come to seek power. Yeah. And I believe that the quicker we get to the point whereby we'll start transitioning and get new hope and new leaders, then I believe our politics will start changing. We are now in that state whereby we have had the old and the old for too long, in my view, because you find that the same people we've been speaking about for all those years are the same people we're speaking about today. Yeah, and it's really about you change this position, change that one, you know, change that surname, you bring this one and that one, literally. But I think we'll need a new dawn, if you like. Yeah. It may be coming in 2022, it may come in 2027, but the country will start to experience. And look at the excitement that gripped the United States when Barack Obama was elected. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, as the first ever black president of that country at an age you would have very well described as a young man, you know, and just the bubble. Yeah. And how it moved the country forward. Remember, even in the days of President Bill Clinton, and when they broke away from the Bushes, I think there is sense and there is, you know, good aspiration when things are looked at that way. So I believe that probably at the end of the day, when we get to the elections of 2022, I don't know how we'll be blending the old and the new, because you know, if you told Musalia Mudavadi that go home right now, you know, he'll be telling you, but you know, I've not tested this thing. If you tell Kalonzo Musyoka that it's time to go home, you've been here for too long, he'll say, but I'm aiming at this thing, I've not gotten it. Yeah. If you tell Raila Odinga, he'll tell you the same thing, you know, and so
it's about value. What value are you bringing to the table? Yeah. Are you really in a position to change the people of Kenya? Are you able to really affect lives? Or, you know, what value are you bringing?
Yeah. Well, you know, that's the question that, unfortunately, in our politics, we ask post the election, after the elections, not before. Yeah. And if we were to be asking that before the elections, then you'd get better leadership. But I think give credit where it's due. For part of what Honorable Wanga was saying, at least one thing that ODM has done, in my view, is that they're starting to prove, and I hope they can keep it that way, that it is possible to have a political party that can transition and transcend, you know, the cycles of elections. And at least for that one, if they would keep it, they would help this country to start moving. Because remember, we had the KANU era, and it looked like KANU had survived, but only because it was a monopoly and a monolith. Yeah. At least ODM has been here for now. This would be, I think, the third election cycle. If you'd keep it that way, in my view, at least that, I'm not talking about their deliverables, and I'm not talking about how they're able to do for the country. But just the fact that they have been there, I think it's a good thing. Of course, it would be important to see, supposing they ever got the position of leadership in this country, what do they do? Yeah. For that, they have still to tell us. Okay. But even more so, they have to tell the two of us here. Because we think we have a better plan, don't we?
I think, Trevor, maybe I'll just chip into the discussion of the blend.
Yeah.
You know, the blend of experience, but also new ideas and
Yes.
youth and so on. And I think a model such as what was being proposed in the BBI was providing room and space for you to be able to blend adequately so that you have experience, but you also don't lose, you know, fresh ideas, youth, and so on. You know, and of course you come by value. You know, you come by value that you bring on the table, and the consistency of your, you know, actions and the consistency of your contribution to the nation. So I think we should hope that when the courts are finalized, the BBI can still stand and be processed, because I believe the current model is sort of winner take it all, because you'll have a president, you know, and a deputy president, and then the rest of the people, I don't know, they have to scramble. We have a lot of, you know, governors who are doing their second term, and the governor, you know, Governor Mutua here, we think about Governor Joho, or Governor Oparanya, or, you know, or Governor Kivuth, and all these governors who are doing their second term, they have experience, but they are still, you know, also young and, you know, and fresh and so on. So what we need is to have a model that is expanded, that gives people room to serve the nation, you know, without losing them. Because right now, without the BBI, there's only going to be one president. You know, we have many presidential candidates, all of them worthy, but there's only going to be one president and probably one deputy president. So if we can, you know, expand the way the BBI looked at it, and we'll have room, and then we'll have, you know, members of parliament, and their ministers, and you have people having room to showcase what they can do, and to also have an opportunity to serve Kenyans using their talent, rather than leaving people out. That's a mistake that we made. Imagine what the 2010 Constitution did, is you run for presidency, you don't become president, you're out there. If you can't survive through your sheer, you know, resilience and ability to stay in power, you're out, and you've disappeared, and you're lost, and that's not what we want, and that's why we want, you know, a constitution that is more accommodative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's bring up the feedback and then take closing remarks in this discussion. Let's see what you're saying online at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Using the hashtag Daybreak, let's just sample a few of them really quick. Here, see what you're talking about. Jenga Mokungu says Dr. Alfred Mutua is very right that our people need to get educated on how to get smart in making and relying on bottom-up economics handouts. Even as they get educated, let's all, including our leaders, encourage them to utilize. Okay? Tim Udeki says, good morning, team. Why can't Jubilee Party, the ODM Party, and OKA, which is the One Kenya Alliance, share their manifestos, policies with Kenyans? Why always fight bottom-up approach? Let them share their approach. We'll read and compare. Let's sanitize our thinking. Okay? Tikidaki says, it's not that the people get themselves here. It's the government that got the people here. It's what governments do as institutions that can make people beggars. Okay? Mas Vingwe says, great discussion addressing socioeconomics of people will definitely salvage humanity, especially in third world economic disparities between those in power and people is alarming. Billions are living in deplorable conditions. Any leader or aspiring leader addressing this on paper and ground is for the people. All right? All right, let's take closing remarks really quick, starting from Senator Wamatangi.
Thank you, Trevor. I think just want to remind Kenyans and remind ourselves as political leaders that I think it's time to change our thinking, and especially the approach as far as the leadership by political parties of the political space is concerned. It's time, and we've said this here before, that we have political parties that are ideological, that have structures, that have a plan to deliver this country to better heights in the blend between what the role politics play and the development of a country. And I would be urging and challenging, especially, you know, the big political parties, including my party, Jubilee, that we need to show intent, that it is time now to to cleanse and change,
Yeah.
and ensure that we can be promisable, that we can not only idealize, but also compare ourselves and compete with the best in the world. I've said here before, Trevor, why don't we aspire to be the Democratic Party of the United States or the Republican Party,
Yeah.
or any of those big parties, you know, Lee Kuan Yew's party of Singapore, the PAP party, you know, and see if we modeled around as ourselves that way, can we be able to then occupy this space that we have sought from Kenyans, and we have been gracefully granted that opportunity as political leaders to move this country forward? And I said this before here, Trevor, today, that let's not forget and ignore the reality that without politics, then you have a dead country. If the politics is not right, everything else is wrong.
Yeah.
And that's why it is important for ourselves, me included,
Yeah.
to remember and realize that the positions we occupy are not just for purposes of then the immediate moment when you have that opportunity to make the most of it, either in self-aggrandizement, in self-seeking ventures, or maybe glorifying oneself. It's to remember that this opportunity and chance we've been given is to change the country and leave a mark that you would say, I was here and I did this for the country and for the people.
All right.
I believe that's the way to look at it.
All right, Governor Mtua.
I'll be very quick. I'll have 5 points in a very chap manner. Today we've spoken a lot. And by the way, you need to explain to us about Murang'a and Keno. How is it that people from Mount Kenya and Kikuyu land, whenever they go anywhere, wanasema tukutane Keno? Uko Nairobi unaenda Ongata Rongai, mnakutana Keno. Alafu ndio mwanze safari. Uko Limuru na mnaenda Nakuru, lakini mnakutana Keno. You know, uko Thika, you know, na mnaenda Nyeri, mnakutana Keno. Mnakutana Keno. Today we've used big words. I like when you said politainment. I talked about discombobulated, creative and random. We talked about blending politics and all that. And it's very good because we need to start thinking about our country and where we're going. Number 2, it's all about showing me the money. Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, we talked about the artists and everybody. We need Kenyans to have money in their pocket. And that is, we need politics of economics, as my colleague has said, so that people have money in the pockets. But people don't want handouts, they want a hands up. People need to be told, ukifanya hivi na hivi, without frustration, you'll get your money, without having to pay a bribe. Ukifanya, if you work harder, you reap more. That's what Kenyans want. And that means setting up the systems. The job of a government is to set the infrastructure and the systems and enable personal growth. Number 3, quickly, it's about tribalism. And it's something we need to talk about. You know, majority of Kenyans are young people, but yet we're being hardened in tribal cocoons all the time. Unafuata huyu ni mtu wako. Huyu mtu wako mnampigia kura kwa sababu amesema yeye yuko sawa. Yuko na nyumba ya ghorofa, yuko na swimming pool, bibi yake yuko na magari 2, yuko na helikopta, anaendanga ng'ambo, watoto wake anawatafutia kazi. Wewe uko hapo unasema ni yeye tu, and you slept hungry yesterday. Your child does not have a job. So we have to be now focusing on the right leader for me as a person. We need to be selfish as voters and say, I'm going to elect somebody who is a Kenyan. I'm very proud to be a Kamba. But look at us here, Mkamba, Kikuyu, Luo, Kisii, Pale. We're different tribes. We don't care. We are Kenyans. When we watch the Olympic team winning, we don't care who is winning. When you see our boxers, we say that's a Kenyan flag. That's where we need to get as a country. Then we can start thinking about where we are going. Number 4, Churchill said that you shape the environment. Winston Churchill said, you shape the environment, then the environment shapes you. So we have to shape the political environment so that we can make the right decisions. But also you have to shape your personal environment. If you want to make money, don't just sit here and wait for the government to help you. Don't wait at Usaidiwe. You have to get out there and do it. Yeah. As a friend of mine called Abdraman Ali, who used to come in my press briefings with Akina Dennis Itumbi, with the late, I'm saying the late because I don't know where it is, Bonkonko, the late Robin Jogu and others. And you look at these people who've made themselves, you know, to where they are today. It's because of that hard work. You have to stick out and make it. And finally, COVID. Yeah. We have been told it's not a 4th wave, it's a continuation of the 3rd wave. We need to be careful. We see people are getting back into hospitals. Our ICUs are starting to fill up again. And I want to congratulate the nation of Tanzania, see what leadership does. Her Excellency Suluhu yesterday got the jab. Yeah. You know, in a country which I'd say there's no COVID and people are taking it very seriously. So we need to work together and ensure that we fight this. Let's not relax, because the sooner we can get rid of COVID, the better it is for us to grow the economy and move on with our lives.
All right. Honorable Wanga.
Thank you. I think it's a good week for artists, and we really thank His Excellency the President and Right Honorable Raila, SK Macharia, and the Finance Committee of Parliament, members of the National Assembly, yours truly, for the good work. I think it's really good stuff that happened. I think let's reflect on transformation of our rural economies. Ustawi mashinani. Wacha watu wakae huko chini and never, hope that if they were in Nairobi or Mombasa or Kisumu, their life and their children's life would be different. Let people be comfortable and have their basic needs within the rural areas and also make money. Let's have realistic and sustainable plans for our economy. Let's not buzz Kenyans with buzzwords that then that then become hollow. I've just seen that Kenyan health workers will get jobs in this new pact in the UK, and so on. I think that's a good thing. It's good opening for the many health workers that we are training but are unable to absorb. I think that's good news. And as Governor has said on COVID, we are not out of the woods yet, but it's difficult to convince people to stop their businesses, run home. Our region right now is locked down. People are not going to church. I mean, people have to get home by 7, so people have to close their businesses. And people are willing to make that sacrifice, but it's difficult to convince them, to continue to make that sacrifice while we see people, holding huge roadside political rallies, without any, with reckless abandon. Let's just be more sensitive.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for making time. Honorable Gladys Wanga, Homa Bay Women Representative, Dr. Kimani Ometangi, Kiambu Senator, and Dr. Alfred Mutua, Governor for Machakos. Senator Samson Cherargei was invited. He just did not show up, okay? So I see the stones you're throwing online. He did not show up. All right. All right. That's why we leave the discussion for now.
Aliogopa bottoms up.
The UDA supporters are saying
Aliogopa kuzama ndani ya bottoms up.
UDA supporters are saying this is the whole team kieleweke, and I'm saying Samson Cherargei simply did not show up. I mean, you can find out where he is.
His chair was here.
His chair was right here, so we have to take a break at this particular point. Next coming up is Cooking Tips. My name is Trevor Mbij. Always a pleasure having you with us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.